Radiothon has been so many great guests. We had Jake Elliott on yesterday, and he was great with us, obviously. And today, there's more. I mean, there's great guests. If you missed it, Odyssey apps today and yesterday, great day to go in the Odyssey app. Morning show had Devontae on and Zach Bond and Cooper. And from what I'm hearing, the afternoon show is slated to follow up yesterday's conversation with Saquon Barkley with the conversation with a certain quarterback. It sounds like Jalen Hurts will appear on the afternoon show today. So stay tuned all day on WIP. But yesterday, first time in a while we've heard from Saquon, and it's a great conversation, but I thought his answer was interesting. Ike brought up the idea, narrative, whatever you want to call it, that when running backs get a lot of carries the way Saquon did, the next year it's very difficult to be quite as good again. Here's Saquon's take on that.
Now, how much have you thought about, or do you pay attention to, the outside noise of he carried the ball as much as he did last year? Guys coming off of great seasons like that seem to take a step back or what have you. Not that I expect you to rush for 2,000 yards again this season, but having a great season and going out and accomplishing some of those individual goals that I'm sure you put out there for yourself. Do you ever worry about being overused coming into the season, or is it just business as usual for you?
Yeah, you know, that narrative is kind of annoying. I've seen it. I think I play the only position in the NFL or in any sports that you're supposed to have a bad year because you had a good year the year prior, which to me that just doesn't, that doesn't make sense. I come under the belief of why not build off of that year, and a successful year and a great year, as an individual doesn't always need to be a 2,000-yard season. And that's the mindset that we're taking on, as a team also. Like, obviously we won the Super Bowl a year prior, but it might not look the same, and it doesn't have to look the same. The only thing that matters is going out there and winning a football game and putting ourselves in a position to do it again. And I'm taking that same mindset as an individual with my goals. It's not 2,000 yards. It's not to break Eric Dickerson's record. That wasn't even my goal last year. It's to go out there and be healthy and perform at a high level and, make plays for my team and lead. So for me, I kind of, that narrative just doesn't make any sense. But I believe that, God got a plan for us all. And my goal is to go out there and push myself to the limit, work hard, put myself in position to go out there and perform at a high level, and let him take care of the rest.
I love that he said that. I love it. I love that he thinks it's annoying, and obviously he's confident that his body is ready to play at a super high level again. Now, he did say there, Hugh, it's not about 2,000 yards or a specific goal, but clearly just hearing him, and then there was the story last week in Sports Illustrated where he spoke about believing he's just entering his prime. I like that his mentality is, I'm ready to go do it again. What'd you take from that?
What's funny? Because this is a conversation that has been being had a lot lately, and I never thought too much about it. But talking to some of my peers and guys about this upcoming season, that was something that they talked about. They basically were saying that what does he have to prove? His why is different this year than it was last year. Now, there's some truth to that. When you talk about what Saquon Barkley was last year coming into this season, there's a lot of doubt. I remember talking to Giants fans before the season started, and all they talked about was, he's going to be injured. He's always injured, all of this other stuff. So I'm pretty sure he heard that same thing, and he wanted to prove everybody wrong. And the fact that we saw on national TV how disrespected he was. So that was his motivating factor then, was the fact that he was being disrespected. Now, I guess you have to wonder, what is his motivation? I would say, and I said this when we started training camp, I think that a lot of these guys are chasing greatness. Because let's be honest, Saquon Barkley can roll out of bed with this offensive line and probably rush for 1,500 yards.
As long as he stays healthy.
Sure. As long as he stays healthy, he gonna do that. That is not a big deal. But if he does that, the conversation shifts to, in a small time frame for him, 6 years in the NFL, 7, something like that?
He was drafted in 18. This actually be his 8th year in the league.
Man, we might be talking Hall of Fame. Mm-hmm. And that is the amazing thing about this, is that we're talking about a running back taking number 2 overall in the draft that went from being busted strong, but not as good as his draft position suggested, going to a team like the Giants and having the career that he had at the Giants, to playing with the Eagles for 2 seasons, right? And now people are looking at him in a whole different light. Like, that's phenomenal. I think that's what he's probably chasing.
Yeah, and his draft position, way back in the day, suggested an all-time great player.
Yeah,
right? and
transitional, like once-in-a-lifetime player, generational.
And his first 6 years wasn't that. But if he could do what he did last year again, we're moving back towards that with his career. So, I was listening to him yesterday with the afternoon show, and then the article, if you missed it in Sports Illustrated last week, it's worth a read. It's about him and the running back position and his future. And he talked about how, kind of like what he said to Ike, he doesn't like this idea that you can't do it again. He pointed to Emmitt Smith. He pointed to Terrell Davis. Although it's not often, once in a while, a running back does reel off these kind of seasons for 2 or 3 years in a row. I mean, Emmitt Smith had, I think, led the league in touches 4 out of 5 years. I mean, just they gave him the ball over and over and over. Terrell Davis over and over for 2 years. Saquon might just be like them. I mean, it's not, if he can stay healthy, and I think that's really the biggest thing, I expect him to dominate again behind this offensive line. I'm out of the business of doubting Saquon. I did it last year, and I was like, oh, my God.
When he made the comparison to Emmitt, was he talking about how many carries he had or how efficient he was?
So I think it was the idea of that because you have one good year, you can't follow it up with another special year. And I look at Emmitt, right? Emmitt Smith, now he was a little younger when this started than Saquon is now, but he led the league in carries in 91. He led the league in carries in 94. He led the league in carries in 97. He led the league in rushing in 92, 93, 95. He basically held that level for like 4 or 5 years. And the common denominator, that was the best offensive line in the league, the Cowboys then.
Yeah.
And this is it now. I mean, there's a lot of similarities in a weird way between that Cowboys team and this. And Saquon's the best player.
And it all depends on how you look at it, because I'm looking at Emmitt's numbers in that heyday. The carries vary, but it was somewhere around 300 carries a season.
And then if you go to the right, I'm assuming you're on Pro Football Reference, look at the touches. He led in the black ink, right? He led the league in touches 91, 92, 94, 95. He led the NFL in touches 4 out of 5 years.
Yeah.
Now, after that, he was never quite the same, but he kept going for 4 or 5 years.
He was pretty durable in those times that he did it. And I think that's the thing that we're looking at. Like, am I expecting Saquon to top what he did last year? That might be kind of tough to do, especially when you talk about the backwards hurdle thing that lives in everybody's head space.
Yeah.
And the way that he just looked and took over games at times. He's still going to be a good running back, because there's a couple times that he's had quiet game. Well, it seemed quiet, and he would rush for over 100 yards. So I would expect it to be more like that. It's not going to be that much pop and pageantry when it comes to the way he runs this year, because we're kind of become accustomed to it, and we're kind of expecting it. And I do feel like this offense is going to evolve a little bit. So it might not be so much Saquon-centric like it was last year.
So I think we all thought that. But then every time Elliott's told us about training camp, he said it yesterday, Saquon was the whole offense in training camp. I starting to think that they're going to do what works, and he works.
Apparently he looks really good, too. I mean, feels good, so he says. I think we talked about this like earlier in the offseason, and I was sort of the mindset that, there's pretty much no way he's going to be able to repeat what he did last season. It's just not very likely. He just talked about that yesterday. But, man, I don't know if I'm just smitten after hearing him do that interview, because he's a very good interview. Actually really interesting guy to hear speak. But, man, sometimes I think I have to take a step back and remind myself of what I saw him do last season.
Yeah, and he's a special dude.
I wasn't around for Barry Sanders or Walter Payton or any of those guys. I've never seen a running back or player like him in my life. So, dominate the way he did at that level. I'm starting to talk myself into the fact that maybe it wouldn't be crazy if he went out there and did it again.
All right, so the list that we've spent so much time on, the top 100 list, right? It's still counting down. I think today Penei Sewell was number 13. We all know who hasn't been named yet, right? Saquon. There's a real chance when that list is finished, he might be one.
Yeah, he had a special year.
It's based on last year, right? That's the players were asked to vote for the best players in the league last year. Jalen voted 19 and Lane 20, whatever. We went through all the Eagles guys. There's a chance the NFL players looked at him last year and said he's the best player. I mean, maybe Mahomes wins because he's just Mahomes, right? Maybe Lamar wins because
he'll probably won. I'm thinking in some order 1, 2, and 3, maybe.
Yeah, I mean he's somewhere in there. Yeah. But he could be one. It wouldn't surprise me if he comes in number 1 on that list. I can't wait to watch him run this year.